evening, gentlemen.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back. Howdy.
Been a little bit.
Been a little bit.
It has and I apologize for responding to a troll online.
Oh, yeah, we have that.
With that.
It happens.
Welcome to the new podcast studio. You are the first guest to sit in that chair.
Outstanding.
You are the first guest in that chair.
Outstanding.
We shot an earlier one with Dylan Crone, who I think you know pretty well.
Yep, Dylan's a great guy. Love his project. It's going to be very exciting.
Yep. And welcome, everybody. This is the official 89th podcast for United Divided. We have changed studios, no longer working out of my wife's house.
She's very happy
just
about
her
that.
house?
She's very happy about it.
Her house only?
She's very happy. And thanks for tuning in, and welcome back, Joe. We're going to talk a lot about local stuff going on. I'm just going to start off, like, I had some snappy intro where I was like, something about, I got in the middle of the Portland Loo thing on Facebook, and it really was just because I hadn't seen it in person until last night.
Oh, you went to check it out?
Well, so
did you pay the homeless dude to be able to go use it?
No, so I was had a 100 Guys Who Care event last night. It was at Birdie's, which the Loo just happens to be within visual of both Birdie's and where I parked, and so I didn't walk over to it even. But from a pricing perspective, why did we need a company from Portland to bring us something that I don't understand why everyone thinks it's such a great concept. It's a bathroom right in the middle of a sidewalk, in the middle of a street where everyone is. So I hear, like, my biggest takeaway from all of it is, aside from the cost of a single hole toilet and the $30,000 a year maintenance that I don't think really keeps it very well maintained, is people talking about the dignity of someone having a place to go to the bathroom rather than on the street or whatever. And I'm like, walking into that place and taking photo ops with your friends who are handicapped going into that space is not dignity.
It is
like
not.
if you're showing off an outdoor bathroom that's a public bathroom that homeless people are living in, that's not dignity and is not doing anything for our city.
I don't think it is either.
I think it's a huge waste of money, and we could have or should have done something in a different direction. But once again, I found out about it after it had already been signed. We're going to talk more about
that happens a lot.
How those deals happen without being without any transparency or potential accountability. And with that, I think you have a couple juicy things and a scoop probably on the Portland Loo. Like, what's your take on it? And let's just get into that.
You know, the city has a complete lack of infrastructure when it comes to outdoor services. I get that. And I applaud trying to do something about that. But we are conflating two different things. One is creating infrastructure to enable tourism, to enable street festivals, to enable public services for events. That is not what this is for. This is specifically placed outside the Mets bus station because that's where the homeless people are bused to most frequently. Mm-hmm. And this is specific, the entire concept of the Portland Loo. If you look this up, they built these things to be as indestructible as possible with blue lights so you can't find veins, so that so it's more difficult to shoot up inside of these structures because it is specifically built to service the homeless community. That is backwards thinking. We are now creating infrastructure specifically to facilitate the continued.
They're on to us.
Yeah, they're on the way.
They're going to the Loo.
Yeah, basically, specifically to enable the homeless lifestyle. Mm-hmm. When in reality, what we need to do is we need to recognize that these people need help. They need assistance. They need help. They need a hand up. There are so many resources that sit around in this city where people are in administrative positions, where they are maintaining massive buildings, where there are facilities for showers and bathrooms and all these things. The homeless community at large does not want to comply with the very simple requirements that it takes to utilize these facilities. And they really boil down to a couple of things. One, you don't get to have drugs on premises. You don't get to have alcohol on premises. That's basically the 2 requirements that they have to go in and utilize these facilities. Now we've spent nearly $300,000, and it will be, I imagine if we looked at the line items, which I'm sure that none of our city people have done, and said, this is what this actually cost, I'm sure it's in excess of $300,000. I would be very confident that it will be. And this is what it's going to do. I can't imagine what it's going to smell like when we have a high humidity day on a 98-degree day. I can't imagine what that's going to be like. I can't imagine what that is going to attract all the way around it. It's going to be a cesspool. When you look at Portland, where these came from, and you look at what they look like today, it is a disgusting environment. There's no chance that $30,000 a year being cleaned 2 times a day by the EID is going to keep that thing, 1, safe, 2, secure, 3, clean. It's going to be disgusting, and it's going to be vandalized, and it's going to be graffitied, and it's going to be torn up. It's going to be a constant source of police activity, and it's going to be an attraction to the worst elements that you do not want to have happen. There's going to be drug use. There's going to be prostitution. There's going to be all sorts of different things that center around this one facility that we pay way too much for that absolutely does nothing to enhance the benefit of the city. That's the problem. And we weren't even asked. It just showed up.
Right.
And now we're supposed to act proud of it. And the thing that makes me so mad, to your point, Chad, is that if we question this, if we question the motives of this, if we question why we need this at all, or who even thought about it, the people on the other side are so busy virtue signaling how great and wonderful this actually is to them, because it shows this sense of compassion, which is fine. I'm a very compassionate person. I hate that these people are in a situation where they are on the streets, but on many times, these people are there by choice. They have opportunities. Censuses in the homeless shelters are low most of the time. I challenge any one of those people, those administrators that operate in these facilities, come here and talk to you and tell me that I'm wrong. Please do it. And if I am wrong, great. I'm so thrilled that you're actually servicing this community. What are you doing to actually reduce the population of the homeless community? That's the problem. We have a problem with no solution. We have ongoing spend that has no solution. I would venture to say, and I'm going to try and figure this out. I think this would be a very interesting metric. How much does the average taxpayer in the city of Evansville pay to service a homeless community per homeless individual and per taxpayer? I think that would be a stunning number.
Well, I wish there was a way for us to get that number.
I think there probably is. I think what we need to do is go look at the city budget, see how much we're spending. I think we need to look at how much things like Aurora, the Evansville Rescue Mission. By the way, I love the Evansville Rescue Mission. I think they're amazing. And I think they're a place for places like Aurora. But I think we absolutely 100% need to get back to identifying and treating the root causes of why these people are homeless to begin with. We need to stop this virtue nonsense of saying they're unhoused. No, they're homeless, and they have mental health issues that often stem from the illicit drug use they refuse to give up that would get them into a job. They refuse to be compliant, or they'd have access to services. That is the story. That is it.
Yeah, I think
it's frustrating.
Growing up, I remember, the government is supposed to be there to have a safety net and a springboard, which means, yes, we're going to help those that are helpable and put them in a good direction. But there's a book that I've just ordered, and I've listened to a podcast of God Saad, I think is his GAD, and the book is called Suicidal Empathy. And basically what it equates to via the podcast was, you said virtue signaling. It's a lot of people want to be looked at as empathetic and caring and doing what's kind and compassionate for others. And it's all about, the snug, hugging it out stuff all the time. And
it does not
for
work.
anyone that's played sports, anyone that has competed to get a promotion against other talented people, or anyone that has ever tried to get a starting position on a sports team over somebody else, at some point, tough love is something that we require. I mean, we've gone through thousands of years of evolution of having to survive in wild, dangerous, whatever. And if you didn't do the things that kept you alive, you just died.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have that anymore. And I'm happy we don't have that anymore. But at some point, it seems like giving, and yes, I understand some people are homeless and mentally ill, and we need to find a way to care for those people.
We used to have services. We used to be able to CIT those people, hold them for 72 hours, have medical services, perform a psychological evaluation, and determine what the root causes of this person's illness were, and then we treated them. Somewhere along the line, we decided, our legislators and our city leadership at some point decided, you're infringing upon their civil liberties by holding them involuntarily. You can't do that anymore.
Oh, they can't do that anymore.
Well, you can CIT them if they express suicidal ideation. They have to get to that place. Beforehand, you could say, you are a homeless individual. You are obviously intoxicated. You're a danger to yourself. I'm putting you in an involuntary hold. And they would go and they would be evaluated. Now it's an infringement on their civil liberties, and we can't do that. When in reality, that is what's required to help people get out of the place that they're in. There's a paradigm shift that we've taken. I think that there is such a thing as malicious compassion. I believe this wholeheartedly. It's weaponized compassion. I'm more compassionate than you because you don't believe like I do.
Yeah, I'm going to virtue signal all day long to prove that I'm
it makes us feel
a better
good
person.
When we are able to say, you know what, Travis, I'm in such a much better place than you. Let me help you figure this out because you can't do it yourself.
Please do. Please.
I mean, can you imagine that moment? How does that make you feel? At some point, it makes you feel like you're a second-rate individual, first of all.
Yeah.
And the next thing that comes along is, okay, do it. I'll just sit back and do whatever I want to do now.
Well,
and now they have an enablement.
It's the whole give a man a fish or teach a man to fish.
No one likes that analogy anymore because it actually requires work.
Well,
my dad used to tell me, I'm an experiential learner. I have to learn the hard way almost every single time. I don't know why. I'm hard-headed. I'm just built this way. And he would tell me constantly, if I heard it once, I heard it a million times in my life, Joe, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make him drink. You're so stubborn. And he's not wrong. I only did it. I only drank the water or made the right decision when I decided it was the right decision. That's the way these people are that are living in our communities. They are damaging businesses. They are damaging tourism. There's not one person that's telling you the truth that's involved in the downtown business life that believes that this is a solution for anything. And what we're doing is just bringing more and more and more of these homeless, which we're now calling unhoused because homeless is too harsh, which is stupid.
Yeah, we got to break through that.
This political correctness nonsense is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. In order to address a hard problem, we have to identify the hard problem, talk about the hard problem, and create solutions for the hard problem. We can't go around saying, "Oh, the problem's this is too ugly to talk about." We want to create some softer version of calling the problem what it is, so we don't actually have to address the problem. But the ugly truth is there's a lot of money in the homeless crisis. There's a ton of money in the homeless crisis world.
I heard it termed
disgusting.
The homeless industrial complex.
It's like the mental health industrial complex. Yeah. If you're mentally ill, they're treating you. They're not healing you. That is a shocking thing.
If you're ill in any way, they just treat you. They don't fix you.
It's a money make. Where's the incentive? If I'm making my money from treating you, where's my incentive for you to get better?
Right.
Honestly.
No, absolutely. I agree with that.
The second you're better, my cash flow stops.
Right.
Why get better? In fact, I've heard on this podcast before, and it's a really astute observation. We create activity so that we can get funding for the activity. The more activity we have, the more funding we get. It's a snake eating its own tail.
Yeah, it's a cyclical thing.
Which is why we are almost $1 billion in debt, and we're paying $300,000 for stupid ass things like a Portland Loo that enables more of the same bad things in the city.
That blew my mind so much whenever I was at the budget meeting, and they acted like it was about $900 million. $900 million. You're going to say that and not scoff at all? Like it's just we're
It's not
900
going to offend you at all.
Yeah, like no, it's just I think
No,
I might have, we weren't there. It was Chris and I, but I think I posed the question because first I asked if there was any way to see the budget and the transactions and the movement and the money, and of course there's not currently, which I hope we can make happen sometime.
That'd be great.
But
Needs to happen.
But then I said, so how much are we in debt? Like if all the debt was called right now, about how much? Well, first I had to get it there because I said, well, how much debt are we in? And then he was like trying to give me
Round
like annual,
numbers.
like very small, like annual. I said, no, if all debt was called right now, we had to pay off
If the
whatever
notes are
our debt
called.
is, $900 million.
Over.
Well, I'm sure it's over,
Yeah.
but I definitely didn't want to say a billion because that'd be, but $900 million even by itself with a city whose budget is what? Currently 550
Over $500 million a year, which is about a third more than what any other city our size is.
Oh yeah, well, it's
posting out.
absolutely.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
So you combine this. You combine this kind of spending. So now we have this nonsense, which they're building an even bigger one somewhere.
We talk from like $1 million. Where's that? Do we even have a spot for that?
I don't know what they're doing with it. I think it's going to go somewhere in Riverside. That's what the rumor mill is cycling around. There's going to be a bigger one somewhere over in Riverside, which will be unbelievable.
There's not even a sink. So people are going to go drop a deuce or like, go number one.
So
There's hand sanitizer.
I think there's.
there is.
So
People's going to drink that. No, I'm just,
Probably.
a guy has been, and I won't mention. Somebody named Brian Buxton. A lot of people on this podcast might have heard
I
of him.
won't mention him.
So he did. Well, I didn't want to name him, but he's out there on Facebook saying stuff, so I'll name him. He did a tour of the facility, and I didn't listen to the whole thing, but he did say there is a hand washing station outside of the loo. It's on the side of it. He also said there was water all around it. So here's my issue: if you walk into the bathroom and you put your hand on a handle and you go in, you use the bathroom and do God knows or whatever else that you do, and there's no hand washing facility on the inside or a way to you're carrying disease in and or out. And how many people that go in and use that thing are actually going to come out and wash their hands? So it's like it is nothing more than a feces spreader at least. And
it's a porta potty. A super expensive.
No. We could get into the details of that. We could have a rack of 4 porta potties. I mean, they have really nice facilities that you can rent much cheaper, I think, than what we're paying.
And watch what happens when we have the events that are downtown. We have the street festivals that go downtown. They'll still bring in porta potties because they have to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, that
It
one
solves
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah, no.
It solves absolutely nothing. It's the most absurd spend of money, the most agendaized spend of money that I've seen in a long time. And I keep hearing, well, this wasn't taxpayer money. This is from the casino. Where do you think that came from?
And that money could have
Taxpayer
been
money.
It's the same thing when they talk about grant money. It's
it's so.
no, it's grant money. I'm like,
Where do you think that came from?
That grant money isn't licked on by kittens. It comes from our pockets.
Exactly
That's how
right.
it got there.
It's taxpayer money. Well, this is from rescue plan dollars. So that's our grandkids' money. That's what I'm hearing. You're fine spending our grandkids' money.
or interest off something. It was interest off
Interest
something.
off ARPA. It's a American Rescue Plan dollars.
But that could have been earmarked to do other things that we need
That
for
could fix
infrastructure, right?
roads.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
could actually be used to address some of the center point issues that we have, the utility costs. This does nothing.
But that's what the solar co-op is going to help. Right?
No, it isn't. No,
Don't
it
get
isn't.
too choked up there, Joe.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's what I hate hearing is the propaganda around these items. It's so misleading. It is so slanted, and they give no quarter for investigation, for inspection, for public review. These things are just done, and then here you go. This Portland Loo situation is the perfect working example of it.
Did you know about it before it was completely
nothing about this.
unveiled? I knew nothing about it.
I promise, if I'd known anything about this, or if I'd heard it coming, I would have definitely had conversations about it.
How crazy is it that they, kept it from everybody? Like nobody knew about it, and
It's
then all of a
because-
sudden it's just there.
Because people would be upset about it, especially with the cost. There'd be an uprising.
So ask for forgiveness instead of permission.
That's what they're doing with this solar Evansville. 17 city buildings are going to have solar.
Well, before we get there, I want to stick to the portable loos and our downtown. We have a lot of public buildings downtown.
Mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of money to maintain those public
Yes, we
buildings.
do.
We have a lot of bathrooms in those buildings. And aren't there bathrooms in the Mets bus station?
They're currently under construction at the moment.
Okay,
but
that's-
they will be done at some point.
But
Okay.
won't the hours of that be like, 9 to 11?
Well, that's our
or 6
choice.
to 11? Oh.
It's their choice that they have those hours. And I'm just going to say it. I don't, the whole, like, if anyone's paying attention to politics around the country, there's Karen Bass is a mayor of LA, and there's a guy that's running against her that's running like a AI video campaign, ad campaign against her.
Effective.
And getting very good, solid results because, I mean, LA and Skid Row is probably the epitome of homelessness in our country.
It's
and,
a perfect working example of the failure of the machine.
And so you can either continue to just pour money at taking care of them or taking care of the issue, or you can, like you said, start solving the problem. So I guess for my own, I want to know, like, what are the smartest people thinking about as ways to solve these problems? Like, how can we actually move the needle and solve problems? I don't want to just sit here and opine and be angry about things. Like, I want to say, here's an idea to potentially fix this. Let's vet it. Let's flesh it out. And if that's not it, we need somebody dedicated to paying attention to what the actual solution to those problems are.
I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can be offended and highly angry about the city spending our money on stupid pet projects that mean absolutely nothing and actually will increase the problem. They will introduce a whole host of problems. Wait till the first dead body's found in that thing because they went ODs in it. There'll be a whole host. EPD will be there all the time.
When I was thinking of whoever's supposed to clean that thing, like, you know how scared even me, and I don't really skip, but like having to open that door and not know what's behind it.
It's going to be a nightmare. It's just going to be a nightmare. The other thing that I would say to your solutions-based question, which is a great one, I don't like just sitting around bitching about stuff. I like coming up with solutions to stop the problem. The problem that we have right now is we have a bunch of non-profits out there that are cycling enormous amounts of dollars through these organizations and not solving problems. They're creating a perpetuation of the problem. The very definition of a problem is that you come up with a solution to the problem. That's why we call it a problem and a solution.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there are problem solvers. We are problem perpetuators. So instead of shrinking the problem, we're actually putting infrastructure in that increases and enhances the problem. Then on top of that, we have people bringing these homeless people in here. And there's no penalty. There's no stopping it because they allow it. They want this. It creates more cash flow, more problem, more cash flow, more activity, more dollars. And it's just this perpetuating machine. So the smartest people in the room right now that are in power are perpetuating the machine. It's a cash flow machine. What we need to do, and it's ugly to say that. It really is ugly to say that. And I hate saying it because at the end of the day, there's two things that are happening. One, there's a population of individuals. These people matter. These people are special to someone. And they are, and I have people in my life that I see every day that have children that are in this cycle right now. And it's destroying them. It's agonizing to them. And they're
I've lost
desperate.
family members to it. I know exactly.
They're desperate to have a solution. Why can't I get help? Why can't they be picked up and forced into treatment? Why can't whatever the step is? It's because they don't want those steps. That you don't stop a problem. They don't see it as a problem. They see it as we're going to enable this lifestyle and keep these people doing what they're doing. One, because we're compassionate and kind. And two, it's paying our bills. That's a problem. When there is cash and profit associated with, quote, treating anything, that's a problem.
All you're doing is prolonging suffering.
These people are in a horrible cycle of life, and their families are suffering enormous, enormous grief every single day. And I see it. You've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. I can tell you, I know many families are suffering through this. We are not doing a damn thing to stop the problem. We're perpetuating and enabling the problem. And in fact, now enhancing it. we need to get to a place where the smartest people in the room aren't thinking of this like their livelihood. They're thinking of this as a problem to solve, to go to the next problem to solve.
I almost feel like, and I know this would never happen. This is going to sound really crass, but like we should outline all of the public buildings downtown and point to and allow every homeless person into those buildings to use the facilities. To put the problem in front of people, to make it uncomfortable, rather than just a problem that just walks down the street or whatever. I mean,
business owners down there are dealing with this every day.
Well, I know, and some of the people defending the Portland Loo are saying, well, we have a business collaborative and something's got to be done because they're sleeping, outside our doors and they're pooping in front of our doors. But this is not solving that problem.
I understand their concern. They're literally cleaning up.
Yeah, I get it.
Biohazards.
I get it.
And so they're desperate to find, the business owners themselves are desperate to find a solution. This is not the solution. This is the beginning of a really, really ugly cycle.
Dumping a cup of water on a house fire? Like that's what
if it's even that. I would venture to say it's dumping a cup of gas.
Well, business owners are already struggling, Joe, to pay bills. We're not going to talk about Centerpoint maybe we do for a minute at the end, or maybe it overlaps with solar, but like everyone is strapped. There are a few small businesses that are still doing well, but like everyone's, having a difficult time paying their energy bills. They're having a difficult time finding and keeping good staffing and paying all their taxes and whatever. Yes. So now all of a sudden it's on business owners to solve homeless problems. I'm like, who signs up for that to go to have who signs up that to want to have a business downtown? Like, why should you sign up for that? What's the incentive?
The businesses are actually leaving downtown because it's so bad. And nobody wants to talk about that. No one in city leadership wants to talk about that.
It's managed decline is what it sounds like.
We are so apathetic as a community because we're so downtrodden with this. There are so many people who say, well, what can we do? Well, we can do a lot. We can stop voting. We had the lowest voter participation in the entire state in the primary. It was unbelievably bad.
I think Chris posted something about that, didn't he?
8%. I think
it's bad. It's so bad. And I think it's very amusing. And this is not a partisan statement in any way. The Democrats had a candidate, Mary Ellen, that they wanted to win through the primary, and they were touting this as a big win. It's the lowest turnout in the entire state. There's nothing to clap about. That is a depressing statement.
I will give her credit. I mean, she has been very active, and I think she does have a decent ground game. But she's trying. She's going after a seat, as you said, that will be decided by horribly few people. Mm-hmm. I will point the finger at Republicans just historically, going back for years, not today, not the current people and thing. Like and I say we because I'm definitely more right-leaning than I am left-leaning, especially right now, is there's never been something that's called me to want to get involved. Like I haven't been inspired.
Cause. We need to. That's a great way to say it. There's no. One of the people always talk about Trump and all the things he does, but he, for whatever he is, he can inspire people to get engaged and involved. He does. We need to do the same thing locally. We really have to. And I don't care what party you're part of. Pick your passion. The center of both sides of the partisan divide. The 80% of us that live in the reasonable center of this are so apathetic and beat down. We do not participate anymore. So we let the 10% on each side battle it out because they're the ones getting the most noise and most oxygen in the conversation, and it's killing us. It is killing the 80% that are actually the taxpayers, the business owners, the people out there scrapping every single day to put food on the table for their families. It is killing the middle class. It's killing the lower middle class, and it's killing the workers.
So I'm gonna jump right on what you said there and agree with you to the point where people say whatever they want to say about Trump, but he really is a brilliant marketing person. He saw a vacuum of need in a Republican Party of candidates that come in and say they're going to do this, this, and this, don't do anything, and so he caught an angry mob of people saying, the media lies to us. We are told this is going to happen, this is going to happen. It never does. And he promises three big things. Closing the border, which he did like almost the next day. He lowered taxes, which is something that he promised. Whether you agree with it or not, he promised it and he did it. And the only thing that he's not really done is a war thing, which is a much more deep, complex thing that I don't want to talk about. But there's even calls now, I think, of people that are trying to follow a Trump model, and they're saying, and I think our friend Chris said this, like, maybe there needs to be an independent party. And so now we're having...
That'd be very hard.
I know, well, most people, though, Joe, don't understand that. And I understand it would be very hard. Like, I feel like I am an independent for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Donald Trump is an independent. He's a populist. He's been a lifelong Democrat.
His genius was taking every good issue away from the Democrats and making it his own.
Yes.
He stole and he left them on an island of absurdity. He made the tent so big to vote for him. Everybody was included except for the extremists on the left side, the crazy propagandists.
I'll go one step further. I'll say our biggest problem locally at the local, regional, and state level is we don't own issues. So we don't really focus on the things that can improve our city, our county, and our state, even for that matter. And we just allow the nice guy, soft glove, uniparty stuff. I mean, it's just like they're tossing a ball back and forth. Meanwhile, nothing really changes. And Trump, the disruptor, basically is what he is, was able to tap into that. And I'm not even saying that I support everything he says or how he says it.
Oh, I don't.
But the reality of it is people are not stupid. And even if they're college educated or not college educated, they see a direction going on in the country that they're like, we can't just allow people in that we don't know who they are. There's no vetting. We can't afford to give them SNAP cards and free housing and what. I mean, we cannot
subsidize the world.
But yeah, it's happening at the city level now.
It always does. Local politics is the most important politics. It just is. It
not as exciting.
It isn't, because it's not as sexy. We're not talking about wars in Iran. We're not talking about, or conflicts, whatever we're calling it.
Talking about a shitter on Fifth Street.
We're talking about a shitter on Fifth Street. We're talking about $300,000 in a city that's $1 billion in debt. We're talking about solar going on buildings that we can't afford. We're talking about citizens of a city and businesses of a city that are being beleaguered by new taxes that have no business being here, that are being hit by an affordability crisis that is rooted in the utilities, where nothing is being done. We had I cannot believe no one's talking about this. We had a, quote, listening session where the IURC from the state of Indiana came down here and, quote, listened.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? Jack diddly shit. It was exactly what I thought would happen. Because they don't have any power to do anything. They have to, if CenterPoint or any utility comes to the table and says, here's what we need, here's why we need it, and the forms are filled out correctly, ironically, they do it much better than our own city, they get it approved. And that's what the IURC has to do. The only way that gets contested is if it goes to appeal and we contest it. That's the way the system's working right now. We are in an organized monopoly. In that
trickles down to the city level.
In that listening session, well, it does, and I'm going to get to that in a moment and show you exactly why. We sat down a listening session and said the reason we are in a legalized monopoly, which they admitted that it was, is because there'd be too many utility poles. They had this ridiculous picture of 1,000 utility poles posted up like a forest. And I just sat in the back of that room with a whole bunch of other smart people and shook my head and thought, how stupid do they think we are? This is unbelievable. I don't understand how they're getting by with this. And it was amazing. But CenterPoint is not the only utility in Evansville that is raising fees. The city of Evansville and the Evansville Water Sewer Utility is raising rates at an astronomical level. And no one's talking about it because the city could do something about it and they don't want to hear it. They are raising rates. The Evansville Water Sewer Utility has a ton of cash they're sitting on. And yet they raise rates for us all the time. They're shutting down important infrastructure like septic receiving stations and grease trap receiving stations. They are only doing the pet projects that they like, that they feel good about, that are showy, and they keep the cash flow going. There's nothing sexy about a septic receiving station or a grease trap receiving station. It just serves businesses that keep the community going.
So let's dig into city going solar plan and what we can do to ask questions that force transparency and some accountability later on. But I don't want for it to come back to any septic like updates, because the whole thing with the Loo station downtown was like something has to start with that. Apparently, it goes right into our city sewer.
Delightful.
Which is great. And who knows what else is being dumped in there. But it's like, so let's talk about the solar thing. Or would it make sense to go to the septic now, maybe a little bit? Like,
we can talk about solar because it feeds into that.
Okay, so tell us what's going on. And I think Travis might have some input about actual things going with the city solar program. So here's yet another thing, which is huge financial future investment that I have many questions that I'm very concerned that people aren't. You said it like, why is nobody talking about this? Why is nobody talking about this? We don't have the ability to build our own solar panels right now. We don't have the manufacturing capabilities. We don't have the resources. We don't have anything. We're relying on China. And so without getting into the geopolitics of it all, we don't want to be beholden to our geopolitical enemies for materials that we're building our energy structure on, which energy is the key to every thriving society, the key to every war that's ever been won. The more energy you have, the more likely you are to have a thriving society and winning wars. So
food, energy, and communications, that's it.
The city solar, like whatever the budget is, to me, is putting us under great risk of being beholden to, first of all, a switch can go off. It might go dark for a while. The panels might get damaged or whatever, and then we're putting all this energy towards data centers, and we're not able to even light our own lights that are in our homes. So it's like there's so many problems going on, and I'm not saying I have everything aligned properly, but that's because they aren't giving us the information in an open, transparent way that I can take it and digest it. I can say this outweighs this risk, because if this happens to this solar grid, then we have a backup here, or whatever the things are. It's like we're just trusting people that aren't giving us information. And it's
first of all, we're trusting consultants to give city council and our city leadership, the mayor, information, and the consultants are the one that are getting paid by the companies that are putting this technology in. So that's a backwards issue to begin with. That's a completely backwards situation. The next thing that I have issue with is the proposal will only be viewable by the public after it's signed.
Yeah.
That is a problem.
There's a problem there?
That is a huge problem.
It's a Nancy Pelosiism.
Is this going out to bid? Who's bidding on it? Why are we doing it? What's the ROI? What's the cost benefit analysis? How much power? And by the way, I am a solar guy. I have solar. My family is invested in solar. Solar is only good for about 25% of the time here. It is a
would not be good, right?
Massive problem.
With all this rain,
and these people are talk about how solar is the future. No, it isn't. Solar is a stepping stone to the future. Solar is a technology that works when it's sunny. There's no ability to produce power of any substantial amount when it's not sunny. I can run about 2 light bulbs on a fully sunny day from my solar array. The reason it's on my house at all, or in any solar infrastructure anywhere that I know, personally know the people that have deployed it, is because of the tax benefit that it once provided. And the net metering has been so neutered by the
somebody else paid for it.
Yeah.
I
paid for it. I paid for it.
And you can sell the juice back to the grid.
Yeah, through net metering. But
well, I mean, technically, we help pay for your
in no small part. In no small part. And net metering has been neutered so drastically that there's no real ROI on that. So we're putting technology on buildings that the second we get a good hailstorm are going to be damaged. We can go look at northern Indiana and see what happened in solar fields up there. On the top of municipal buildings with no verifiable ROI, with no verifiable energy production stats, in a place in the country that gets 25% of solar energy production. These aren't my numbers. These are numbers from the Energy Commission of the United States. They literally say, don't put it here. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Or if you do, this is what you're going to expect.
You need places like Arizona,
Yes.
California, and places that have
That
sunshine.
have.
I mean, we have
sunshine.
a few farms around here. I drive past the one there on Morgan. There's going up 41. There's one. Tell City even has one near the hospital.
We have them, but do we know if they're actually providing us good ROI? I mean, that's the real problem.
Well,
Keep
The
going.
ROI takes 20 years
Keep
on
going.
average.
We have them near Tell City, and there's some on Morgan and Morgan and 41 right there. There's some out off 41 near North High School. So what's your position on it?
No, I was just saying. I mean, apparently somebody thinks that there's at least some benefit with because those aren't city
tax benefit.
It's not.
Well,
yeah. I mean, benefit to me is delivering the needed energy that we have to fill. Like we need hours filled of lights being turned on, and not just tax dollars being thrown at something.
Right. Well, then the other part of that is also the storing of the energy. If we have a good way to store the energy so that we can use that at a later time, then that would be great.
Store 50% of the energy thrown at them. The best batteries in the world can only store 50%. So if you look at a 25% energy production utility, I don't care what it is, then you throw at a 50%. Of that 25%, it's only getting 50% thrown at
every time, half the time.
It works every time, half the time. You now have, even in the best of circumstances, with brand new, best technology in the world, you literally have half of 25% of the energy production storable for use. It is the most at the highest possible technology cost and replacement cost ever. Not to talk about the decommissioning costs of this.
I was thinking the materials were created for the batteries, lithium mining,
all that stuff. I'm not even talking about the carbon damage that is created just by manufacturing these things.
And who manufactures? What government can? Yeah.
Look at the decommissioning costs and replacement costs. It's astronomical, and it's dangerous, and it's gross.
I will say, I'm switching a little bit, that with wind energy, one of my biggest problems was that you couldn't. Like once those blades had to be decommissioned, they were done for. You just kind of bury them. Somebody has come up with a way to at least recycle those. I'm not saying that wind energy is the way to go, but at least now I did read an article a month ago maybe that somebody has come up with a way to reuse some of the materials.
Those are some of the biggest boondoggles I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There's my favorite quote around energy production. My favorite quote thus far that I've heard that makes the most sense in the quickest way possible. If wind and solar were the answer to any energy production, Exxon, Mobil, BP,
the oil companies would be investing hardcore in them
everywhere.
China wouldn't be exporting it.
But you know what we have? We have oil derricks producing energy. We have natural gas wells producing energy.
We're very petroleum.
And by the way, Europe, the reason our oil costs, our gasoline and diesel are so expensive is because we're pushing all of our fuel to Europe to keep them alive during this conflict.
And it's funny that you say expensive. It's really not that expensive. If you take ours per gallon versus say Europe's per gallon, I mean it's almost double. It's
very high there.
We're not. It's high for us, but we have always been very low compared to the rest of the world as far as per gallon cost.
We have an energy-rich country here.
Right.
We are blessed to be in a very, very energy-rich
continent and North America, South America. Like there's a reason for
our oil is much better than South
for some of Trump's madness. Is
much better. Well, wait till Venezuela starts pumping the oil up.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So let's go back to this. So I always feel, and I think.
But this speaks to the transparency issue. Yeah. We are only going to know what the details of the deal are after the deal is signed. And we're the ones paying the bill. Would you ever let someone in your house that says, you know what, I need to replace this roof. I'll let you know what it costs after I'm done.
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine that moment? It could be $5,000, it could be $50,000, it could be $500,000. Who knows?
That's what our government is telling us right now.
So that's what our city government is.
And they're just like, yeah, we can just do it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. They're spending money like they have it, and they're $1 billion in debt.
Like they have
and
it.
If we ever get
they're bankrupt. It's the most moronic thing I've ever heard.
If we ever get a non-Democrat in our city council or mayor seat again, like they're going to have to manage all the bad decisions.
They're going to have to manage the bad debt. There will be an immediate. If someone with any kind of fiscal sense at all gets into office in a position of power and when they take control of things, there's going to have to be an immediate restructuring of debt.
I think
and austerity for a minimum of 2 years to solve this.
That's what I was going to say. You kind of hit it there at the very end. That's what I was going to say is that there's going to be a lot of unhappy people with what we just say conscious, I guess maybe, I don't want to say educated, but with somebody with a fiscal sense mayor is going to have to cut a lot of fat that people aren't going to like the cuts just to try to right
Some
the
people
ship.
will like them very much.
Well, I know,
The
but
people utilizing the entitlements won't like them at all.
right. Well, that's kind of what I'm saying is when you start having to trim these things. I mean, we're not going to put in a new shitter for $1 million because we need to chip away at $900 million in debt. I mean, there's going to be a lot of cuts, and that mayor's probably not going to be
But the
any
problem
type
is,
of like any
when we
type of
put this
popularity
infrastructure
contest.
in, every time we put some weird little agenda talking point in, every time we do something like this, every time we put this solar crap in, every time we put this Portland Loo crap in, every time we do these things, there's an inherent $30,000 a year for maintenance, for cleaning. That's not talking about maintenance. That's not talking about replacement. That's not talking about fixing
Somebody
what's
rips the door
broken.
off or something.
That's not talking about anything. That's not talking about the police presence, everything else that's going to go on with this.
Yeah, I had an insider tip that said they've since the beginning of the year had over 250 calls to that.
I guarantee it.
So that's more than one call per day
Oh yeah.
to one facility,
Yes.
one
It's-
single whole facility.
It's where the homeless population is bused to from the big cities. They bust them here to us.
So I feel we've gone down a rabbit hole, and
Sorry,
I want
yeah.
to circle back around to something that I think is evident to people who pay attention to not just the narratives and the optics, but what's actually going on with the people that control our money and our policy decisions. All of the big green new energy people have recently just completely done a 360 or 180, whatever the number is. 180
would be
away.
a complete
180.
yeah.
Do the math for me. 180 away from it
Get the
because of all the
protractor out,
data
compass.
centers and stuff are coming. So like a lot of those people with all
Yeah.
the money that were pushing green new energy are saying, nope, not a good idea. And so here we are. It seems to me that we're listening to narratives from 5 years ago that we all have to get solar panels because that's the best way to save the
And
environment.
I'm 100% in favor of top-down energy. Supplement your energy consumption. Wonderful. Put it on your... I applaud every private business that wants to put solar on their buildings. Do it. Phenomenal. Please do it. Absolutely. Take care. Cover your own net with as much energy production as you can privately.
If it makes financial
Do
sense.
not spend my money on crap that I don't want. Or take a poll. Let's start putting this out for referendum. Let's take a poll. How many people want to do this? Because it doesn't benefit us one itty
We're
bitty
going to
bit.
show you all the numbers, give
Show
you
you
a
all the
one-year
numbers.
study,
And
whatever
by
the
the
thing is.
way, this 1 point whatever million dollars they say this is going to save, they're not giving that back to us. They're just piping that to other things they want to spend the money on.
And it's not going against the current debt.
No, if it saves anything at all. In 6 years, there's not a solar array that I am aware of, and I did some extensive research on this, that has ever paid a return back in less than 15 years.
Yeah, usually when I look, it's like 12 to 15. Usually
It's
the break
usually
even.
20.
Well,
It's usually 20 for a house. It's usually about 15.
it depends on how big
for a
the array
business.
is.
True.
It's kind of
And what level of net metering is involved. There's
And then you
zero
have to
now.
presume, again, with the rapid advancement of technology and the products that we're going to be able to create with AI, you're presuming that the technology that you're expecting a 20-year level up of your money isn't going to get killed by something else that is much more efficient and better in a much shorter period of time. So you're going to build an infrastructure, you're going to put something on a roof that needs 20 years to fix it, and then something 5 years from now very likely is probably going to be much more
Remember,
efficient. And
by the time that 20-year window hits, your solar panels are no longer producing power. They've got 20-year life.
or at least not the efficiency of it. But you're kind of buying into.
It's practically zero.
But you're also buying into just any purchase in the technology world. Like when I look to buy a new MacBook, let's say,
Oh, yeah.
I could buy a new MacBook today, or I could buy a new MacBook in a year because that MacBook in a year is going to be substantially better than the MacBook now. Like at some point, you still have to spend the dollar to get something that you need, whatever it is, even though you know in 5 years, like if you look back 5 years ago, let's say, my MacBook Pro 5 years ago to my MacBook Pro, like to a MacBook Pro.
yeah, but
today,
I mean, so this thing is like 6 years old or 7 years old, and it still does everything that I need it to do.
it might do
You
what
got power users that want the best and the best and the best and the
Yep.
best, the fastest. You are one of those guys that are kind of a unique, niche thing that want that. But like for most people, all they need is just something to plug in. And
But that was my
I
pushback.
just needed to open up Excel.
That was just my pushback to what you said though
No,
about the
I
solar
get it.
is that like Yeah, most people just want to at least break even or maybe make a little bit on the back end by the time it gets to the 20-year point.
Yeah.
The person that's going to like worry about 5 years from now, the technology is going to be so much better, the efficiency is going to be so much better, or maybe even the battery storage is going to be so much better. That's great, but if you don't at least buy it now to do something, I mean, you see what I mean? Like, so if you want to wait 5 years from now,
pro solar, give me a pro solar pushback.
I'm pushing back on what you said only because on what you said about in 5 years it's going to be so much better, even though we're waiting for a 20-year payoff. But if you have that mentality, if you want to wait 5 years from now to get the much better thing in 5 years, then in 5 years from that point, there's going to be something much better than like you're just getting into like kind of the dichotomy of technological advancement.
You got to commit to something, especially with infrastructure and power. I totally get. I get what you're getting at.
That's the only pushback I would.
No, and I think it's good pushback, and I think these are conversations that smarter people than me need to be having. But like, if I have an objection to a plan that's a 20-year plan, and like solar isn't proving itself now.
I mean, I totally agree with that. I'm not trying to
not going to.
It's not, and we are beholden to China for that. China. And I don't even like it. I don't even like that Trump came up with that. It's like, it's national security. If like, look back to COVID, whenever a ship stopped coming from China with the important things we needed to put cars together, the chips, guess what? We built a bunch of cars that set out
in fields
Toyota for 2 years because they didn't have enough chips to put in them.
Right.
And like, that should have been a lesson for everyone to understand, regardless of your politics. You have to understand it requires.
That's what the whole tariff scheme was. He was trying to reshore those resources. Yeah. That's exactly what that was designed for.
We have to. Critical infrastructure things, critical medical supplies, critical things that we should be taking care of Americans first. And if we have to live on an island for a little while because the ship stops sailing across the ocean for whatever reason, a war or whatever.
One of the things that's fascinating to me is people are always talking about, well, I want to have. So here's what's amazing to me is you listen to any of these Green New Deal people. We want to produce our own energy. We're going to have solar. We're going to have wind, whatever it is. We want to be self-sufficient. Okay. So do I. I want to produce everything we need for our country here in our country.
That would be great.
How is that different? But they're up in arms about that. But they believe that getting all these materials, these offshore materials and all this other stuff and this, that, and the other thing, that's a great thing so that they can have self-sufficient power, which is completely misleading and not accurate. I don't like, anytime someone gives me a hard sell, I don't care if I'm going to a car lot and I'm looking to buy a vehicle, someone comes, this is the best vehicle ever, you're going to love it. It does all this stuff, and if you don't buy it today, it could be gone tomorrow. I'm like, well, see ya.
Yeah.
I guess I can get
Somebody wanted it worse than I did.
Yep. I don't believe in the hard sell. One of my principal functions as a leader in my business is to bring in new talent in my business. Really good people. You know what I never do? This deal's only good for this long, buddy. I need to know today.
You can only get me for this. Yeah.
You know what?
I'm only going to hire you if you decide right now.
Sign right here, and we'll talk about the deal after.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that moment?
No.
Hire me now. We'll talk about it.
Travis, sign this now. We'll work at the details later. Hell no.
I think you're messing up my podcast deal here with Travis.
It might be.
Dude, if you got something, let me know.
Bring it in.
If it's more than bourbon and food, I'm in. No.
Let's change the subject.
Let's move on. Moving on. I love it.
So I guess I don't know if we've covered enough on the solar side of what's going on in the city. What I will say is let me ask the question that I think is relevant to me.
Mm-hmm.
If it's such a good deal for 5 years and 10 years down the road from now, you should be able to provide us, here's what it's been doing for the last 5 years and how these businesses and other things have invested the money and seen ROI or a reduction in energy costs. You should be able to very easily and clearly do that for us.
I think there should be working business cases other places that prove this ROI.
If it worked.
If it works. I want to see modeling right now.
Yeah, do you want me to read the little blurb here that's on the... So we had talked about this. I kind of looked this up a little earlier. So this is on the city website. So I'm
City of Evansville government or Stephanie Terry?
EvansvilleGov.org.
Okay.
It's a long URL. You have to go deep into the website to find it. But Anyway,
And
it
this
says
is why we love you.
So it says the city of Evansville today announced a resolution. This was back when they first announced it, but it said they announced a resolution with nonprofit group Solar United Neighbors, SUN, how fun, acronym SUN, anyway, to launch the Southwest Indiana Solar Co-op, the first city council resolution supporting a solar co-op in Indiana, expanding access to cost-effective solar energy options. This group will help enable residents to install systems that can offset approximately 60 to 80% of their annual electricity use, significantly reducing reliance on grid purchase power. 60 to 80%. That is a far cry away from our 25%. I mean, do you have something to say about that? Not to put you in a corner.
Say about that is that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
You know,
Show me one case study.
yeah, show
Not
me
even best case. Arizona wouldn't have 60 to 80%.
There are people that have invested, and my family's one of them, hundreds of thousands of dollars in solar arrays, and that does not come anywhere close to that. I have solar now, and it comes nowhere close to that. It is the worst kind of propaganda to get people's hope in a situation. This is what makes me so mad. In a situation where we are beleaguered by a utilities crisis, where we're pigeonholed and stuck in a government-funded, government-enabled monopoly through Centerpoint that is gouging us, that is absolutely, it is absolutely victimizing people. We suddenly throw some crap like this out there that make people believe that they've got the solution. This is complete nonsense. It's fiction. And it makes me mad that they get these people's hopes up for this on a 20-year ROI that will never come to fruition. It is absolutely appalling. Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. That's all that I ask.
So I do have a question. So I don't currently have solar. I've dabbled with it a little bit. I've had like a single panel on a small, whatever. I've dabbled a little. But just on a little bit of research I did and a little bit I've looked up right now. So it does say that the modern solar panel converts about 20 to 23% of sunlight into usable electricity. The highest performing residential panels can reach 25% efficiency.
Shocking.
That's monocrystalline. If you go to polycrystalline, it's like 15 to 18%, but it's a cheaper alternative. So it costs less to install. So my wonder, I might have to do a little more research while we're talking here, is even though it takes 20 to 23% of sunlight and it converts that into usable electricity, to the average home, how much of their used electricity does that really, you think, convert out to? Because those are kind of two different things to talk about.
So now to augment that question, now look at, in Evansville, Indiana, how many days can produce solar energy? How many days produce usable solar energy for a solar array?
All right.
So these are the calculus numbers that people don't like to talk about, because you start quickly realizing that solar doesn't work here, not effectively or sustainably. It is not a continuous energy production center, period. It just isn't. And if you would doubt that, you can go to myso.com and look at the energy production stats. I can tell you what it is right now.
So a little bit, so you might have, so if they actually did the homework, they might have a little better number. But what I show is that, that the region receives an average of 186 completely sunny days annually, which yields to roughly 4.2 to 4.5 peak sun hours per day. So you've got about let's say 4 hours. You have about 4 hours of peak sun hours. But so what I was asking though is that, and I might have to try to find the coefficient or like the conversion factor for this, is even though the solar panels, and I'm not touting solar, I'm kind of posing a question to put out there. If your solar panel is, let's say, 20% efficient, so let's try to kind of keep it on a usable number that's not reaching for the stars. So let's say it's 20% efficient for whatever the sun gives you, or whatever you're getting from sunlight. But even though, so you're getting that, how much does it take to cover the kilowatt hour usage of an average home? And I think that's more, I might need to do a little more research.
You can look at the average kilowatt usage of a 2,000 square foot home in Evansville, Indiana.
Yes, I can, but I unfortunately don't know how many kilowatt hours this output makes. That's what I need to figure out.
Ask it. So I can tell you with MISO right here.
Yes, absolutely.
You can go right here to the MISO grid.
Do it.
And you can tell, I can look it up in real-time displays, what the total fuel mix as of this instant is. Total megawatts across the state of Indiana, 76,297 megawatts. Coal produces 23 1,345 megawatts. Natural gas, 25,776. Nuclear, 10,315, which that should be much, much more. Wind, 7,000. Solar, 3,579 megawatts. That equates to wind is 9%, solar is 4.69% statewide of our total energy consumption or total energy production. That is a pathetic, practically nominally useless amount of energy production for the state. It does nothing. Natural gas, coal, and nuclear are the producers. Period. That's it. Battery storage is zero.
When we're talking, I just want to throw one thing onto that. You're talking about batteries are 50% efficient. Yeah. I mean, batteries 50% efficient.
50% efficient.
How efficient is coal?
100%.
And it stores in your backyard.
Yeah. You just ask for it and it's there.
So, I mean, again, I think we can all concede that we want a healthier environment. We don't want to put things into the air and whatever that is unhealthy. But you guys are going to finish a point, and then I've got a clip here that probably one of the only clips we'll share tonight about net zero and what it's done to Europe and why we are making the decisions that we're making right now. And it's based on crappy science.
So we'll go to that here in just a second. Just a little bit of what I've just looked into just for a moment to try to kind of come up with something. So it says in southern Indiana, a residential solar array will typically produce 1,300 to 1,500 kilowatt hours of electricity per year. And it says for every 1 kilowatt of solar capacity. So it's talking, it depends on which type of array you buy, of course. So let's just say a large system produces roughly 13 to 15,000 kilowatt hours.
That's larger probably than any home array.
Well, and that's what, so I'm going to look up what a 10 kilowatt system looks like. So this is average. A 10 kilowatt system will produce about 1,500 kilowatt hours per year, or 15,000 kilowatt hours per year. When I did the quick ask about how much a 2,000 square foot house would roughly use in kilowatt hours, I show a year of anywhere from 15 to 18,000 kilowatt hours per year. So let's say that we do kind of break even on the really big array. So just real quick, 10 kilowatt system. 10 kilowatt solar system. I'm going to be quick here, and then we'll go to you, Chet. So let's see here. So a 10 kilowatt solar system typically costs between $25,000 and $30,000 fully installed. Okay, so now we would have to think about how much is your center point bill. So let's just say $500. So let's say $6,000 a year. So you're looking, so you are looking at about 5 to 6 years before is your break even point, according to the numbers, possibly, if you buy the big.
But you're not getting that power. You're getting 25% of the potential power generated.
Well, but I think that's what we're talking about here is, so it's saying, a residential array will typically produce about 1,300. So I believe it's factoring that in. So even though the efficiency is only 25%, I believe if the efficiency was 100%, instead of having the 1,500 kilowatt hours, we would have, or excuse me, I'm on the wrong tab. Instead of having the ability to, create about 1,500 kilowatt hours per year, you'd be able to, on a 1 kilowatt solar capacity, you'd be able to do that times 4. What is that? 4, 5, 6,000, kilowatt hours. So I believe it's figuring that efficiency into the equation. But then you have to think of upkeep and the ones that break. There is more to it, but the numbers, I don't mean to show kind of that it may, but it may very well start showing a bit of a profit, or a bit of at least a less loss after 6-7 years.
That's actually, I don't know. So here's the problem. Your house, you have 2 times in your house that you're using. You'd have to store it somewhere.
Right. You would have to have a battery system.
So of that 1,300 that it's producing, if you're storing it, you're only getting half of that back.
No, that is true. That is something.
And so of that half,
you're right.
You're never going to meet the energy consumption of your home. Your energy consumption of your home is over 10 kilowatts. It's just what it is.
Yeah. So that is true. So then you would be looking at 15,000 kilowatts. So then you'd have to think 4 hours is 1/6 of a day. That's your main usage. So you have to figure out 1/6 of that and cover, So you're right. So you still have to definitely buy.
15 to 20 years.
You're probably looking at about 15 years.
I was a consultant for a solar company. I know this math. This is not hard math.
We're crunching the numbers in real time. Damn it, Joe, just let me have it.
It's not hard math. You got to think about.
But at least we talked about the numbers and we showed the real cost, the real numbers, but now we've at least proven that the 60 to 80% or whatever after 6 years is in a world where, whoops, I don't have myself on the screen anymore. In a world where everything would be perfect, where we would be getting, instead of 4 hours of sunlight production,
Arizona.
whatever, we'd be getting like 18 hours or whatever it might be.
In Arizona, this might be closer to a 10-year ROI.
Yeah.
Here, it's not. It's never going to be. And the ugly truth about that is it only works if you had net metering, because any energy that you send back to the grid that you're not consuming without a battery supply.
So you need storage, or if you had net metering that was equal, then it would make sense, because you'd be potentially make sense. Yeah.
Well,
and you don't have any of that.
This goes to.
By the way, that doesn't count the batteries that are $10,000 a piece.
Right.
Yeah,
you need two for that.
Goes right to the point
and how long they
where
last and all that stuff.
Blanket politics, like what's good for people in southern Indiana, is not the same as what's good for people in California and whatever. And if we
crunch the numbers in real time to show that they're full
I love it.
They're full of Portland Loo.
Well, I mean, so it's like we can do different things in different areas. Like I have a real problem. Like solutions are not blanket solutions for any problem. We have local problems that we probably are dealing with that no other city is dealing with exactly like we are.
Exactly.
And so we can't put the same Band-Aid on the same problem in a different city with different circumstances. So what Joe said, and I think Travis, you did a good job of like trying to put the numbers together. It's like if you live in an area where there's sun all the time and you're not relying on battery all the time, put as many things as you can and figure out a way to get better storage. Like how can we
the southern half of the US,
how can Elon Musk or somebody make better batteries or some better way to transfer?
That's the whole reason that he created Tesla, is to create a
battery company.
Battery.
Absolutely.
So let's not even talk about the fact that he's talking about now trying to power data centers on the moon. Like what we are dealing with in Evansville, Indiana right now, and what the Democrats, I'm sorry to say, I don't go deep into politics with left or right. The Democrats are talking and piping a Green New Deal climate net zero strategy that Europe has already proven
they debunked it.
Kills them. It's killing Europe. It's killing the UK. It's killing London. They are literally dying on the vine. And I got a clip. Konstantin Kizin, who is a trigonometry guy, and I'll come right back to you.
But he wants to say something maybe before the clip.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna put it right on. I'm just kind of leading into him. Like he's giving us a story here in southern Indiana, which I would say Europe and that whole area, climate wise and temperature and sun, they're kind of similar to us. Like we're in a similar parallel of how much sun you get at any given time. It has absolutely destroyed their economy, and so. We'll share a clip here in a little bit, Joe, but go ahead and...
So in order to get battery storage, which I look at a lot of times for homes, they put a Tesla Powerwall in. I just did a quote on a Tesla Powerwall. It's $13,000 to $16,500 or one, then which gives you about $6,500. So that is about half of what your home would need for a 2,500 square foot home. So it asks you to do two, which adds another 13.5 kilowatts, which is another $6,000. So you've got easily $20,000 just in batteries. On top of that, so it's a $50,000 installation, which takes you to 25-year ROI, which by that time your solar panels are junk.
Right. Yeah.
How long do the batteries last, allegedly?
About 5 years.
That's it?
Mm-hmm. They start degrading in their capability.
And the battery price is going to stay exactly the same as they are today, Joe?
No, absolutely.
I'm sure they're
10 years at max. They're done. Look at the Priuses. They've got great batteries in them. Those things, that's why there's a 5-year warranty on them. They cash them out every 5 years.
Most people lease those. They don't want to deal with the
because the battery costs are outrageous.
Right.
So this is the actual truth. And believe me when I tell you, I love the technology. I think it's a stepping stone to better technology. I think
we're going to get there sooner. I mean, sooner than later.
I think we should continue exploring this. But I promise you, if this made any financial sense whatsoever, every private energy producer in the world would be pushing this stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
This is a subsidized technology that is broken from the start.
Well, I think if you pay attention to tyranny and how it falls out country by country, is anything your government tells you is essential and you must hurry up and do it now.
Question it.
Is usually a problem. They're giving us the problem, offering us the solution, and then selling us the solution that we will then have to pay for. That
you create the problem, and they fund the solution.
That's right.
My issue is anytime you have a technology that the government's pushing that is so unbelievably subsidized and it can't stand on its own, that is inherently a flawed technology. Right off the bat. They want you to adopt it. They want to raise energy. Obama said we're going to make it hurt. We're going to make it hurt to have a gas-powered vehicle. They spend billions of dollars trying to prop up solar and electric energy vehicles in the Obama administration. It was a failed experiment from the start. And then they redid it in the Biden administration on a grander level with the Green New Deal. This and the Inflation Reduction Act, that was nothing but the Green New Deal. They actually labeled it as something. It's so disingenuous.
It's the opposite.
No one is actually calling this out as the most horrendous lie that was packaged up and sold to us.
Well, and we're trying to
during
deal
a
with
crisis.
We're trying to deal with it locally is the real tricky thing, because they're saying
we're 5 years behind what
they're saying all these big words out there, and then we're like dealing with the aftermath.
Well, they packaged it up in cutesy, fun, exciting sounding propaganda, and they get a nice little soundbite out there too, and a couple of photo ops, and now next thing you now have price increases in your taxes, or you're wondering why they've deployed all this technology and all this cost to us, and we're not feeling any better. We're actually feeling worse because it costs more. It's ridiculous.
So I'd like to take a quick break. As soon as we turn the camera back on, I want to go to the clip, and then I want to evaluate the clip and go from there, because it's still on the same topic, but it'll just be everyone's going to be gone. They're going to be right back. See you in a second. I don't know if the sound works. Are you on? Okay, here we go. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody.
We're going to share this clip and let Travis and or Joe have a conversation about what they think. If the sound doesn't go straight away, we might have to unplug something and plug it back in, because it's been quiet for a minute. Let's go. Let's see what we got.
Oh, no.
No audio. Imagine that.
See? Look at that. Okay, so I'm going to plug it back in while we keep talking.
No, that shouldn't be the problem, though.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Hang on.
What happens when you go away and you come back? Stuff happens.
I'm trying to think of what could be the problem. There shouldn't be a problem. That's HDMI 1. Hang on. Let's see here.
I'm having you're blocking my sound currently, according to this.
But I'm not.
Apologize, folks. We're wrapping up here shortly. I want to share this clip and talk about what this
All right.
clip.
We'll be back in just a minute.
Yep. Welcome back. Sorry for the glitch. Want everyone to hear this really short clip, about 2 minutes long. And again, it's basically what our local, I believe, regional and state level government has been pushing our energy policy towards. And we all need to understand the narratives that we get from our local politicians, our regional politicians, and state politicians is based on, I don't want to call it old science, but listen to the clip and let's have a conversation.
Percentage of global carbon emissions is Britain responsible for?
Historically or in present
Currently.
terms? About 1%?
About 1%. 1%. So if we reduce our carbon emissions to zero and destroy our economy even more than we already have, we will reduce global carbon emissions by 1%. That's what we're talking about. Now, that's what we're talking about, right? And the promise of net zero was, well, it doesn't matter that it's 1% because Britain is a global leader. We will inspire the world if we destroy our industry and hand it over to China, who's going to make the same things that we still need but dirtier, and then we ship them back here on ships that use the dirtiest fuel imaginable. If we do that, the Chinese will be inspired to commit industrial suicide as well. The Chinese clearly are not as stupid as our leaders, so they haven't committed industrial suicide. That is what net zero has done. We have the highest industrial electricity prices in the developed world. That means we basically cannot make anything in this country anymore. And we will not be able to make anything in this country anymore until we let go of this ridiculous idea that we will inspire other people to jump off a cliff like lemmings, because we did. It doesn't work. It's not going to deliver prosperity. And James talks about we need a strong economy and we need net zero. Those two things are incompatible. You can't have both. So either you choose to make your people prosperous, or you choose to pursue. If that's not what you said, then forgive me. I thought what you said is we need both of those things, and I'm saying we can't have both of those things. We're going to have to abandon completely the idea of net zero. We can definitely continue to invest in new technology, and we should be pursuing newer, cleaner, cheaper forms of energy. But the number one priority of government policy going forward should be to deliver the cheapest possible, reliable, abundant energy that we can, so that A, our industry can thrive, and B, so that you are not paying ridiculous electricity and gas prices, because we have some of the highest energy prices for consumers in the world as well. Net zero is industrial suicide, and we've been committing it for far too long, and it has to end.
Okay, so I could have like a 5-minute monologue right now, and I'm going to not do that. I'm going to try to cut it down to absolute bare minimum.
Not that monologue, sorry.
We are 5 years behind what Great Britain, UK, the whole other part of the Western world has been doing, with catastrophic results.
Mm-hmm.
They are not getting themselves off a grid. They're more and more reliant on the pipelines that are now disrupted via the Iranian
do you think all
conflict.
of our power, our energy production is going to them?
Well, China's buying up all of our natural resources, our coal, our natural gas, and selling us something that they don't want. There is no sense that you can make out of those two things. And the argument that we are saving the climate is just absurd. We are not saving the climate by making stuff a little cleaner in our little sphere. We all want cleaner energy. Let's say it together. We all want cleaner energy. However, we are going to commit suicide of our country, of our local economy, of the people, all because we are paying more and more for less and less.
My juxtaposition to that is, I always look for, in any decision, whether it's an individual's decision, a business decision, government's decision, a global decision, what are the motivations? We are looking at our largest geopolitical adversary in China, and we have to question why they're pushing this on us. Why are our global leaders pushing this on us? That clip is very interesting for a couple of reasons. One, Great Britain produces 1% of the carbon emissions of the planet, and yet they have crippled. They once were an industrial complex that was the envy of the world, truly. And now they can't afford to produce a damn thing. The global cult of environmentalism. And I'm a conservationist. I want beautiful forests. I want clean energy production. That is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful goal. We
want to be able to breathe.
We want to be able to breathe. And we can do that with nuclear power today, instantly. We're not, because it's cheap power and there's a whole complex. We could have a whole different conversation about that.
That's for the next 3 hours.
However, yes, exactly. However, China has, we think in 4-year, 2-year sprints, we're going to have a midterm election in a year. It's going to be, we think of these 2-year to 4-year sprints, and agendas are switched around, all kinds of things. Nancy Pelosi 8 years ago said the Green New Deal makes absolutely no sense. This is the most lunatic thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And yet here we are in the Biden administration passing the new Green Deal. We think in small time increments. China thinks in 100 and 1,000 year increments. Yeah. That is their plan.
Read The Art of War.
They are, read their government's goals. They published them. It's not a hidden thing. They literally lay them out for the globe to see. No one ever pays attention. China will seek to weaken all of its largest adversaries in whatever way they possibly can. And if you look at who's pushing this green agenda through these global institutions, it's China. China is the globe's producer of the weakest form of energy production.
I will say I'll add
100% beholden to the Chinese.
I'll add the Bank of London and Britain to that.
They're owned by China.
They're all owned by the same people.
if you look at
India's another.
India's a massive producer.
Yeah.
Look what France and India, what their energy production is nuclear. They don't subscribe to this. China is a coal producer. Their energy is not solar in any way, shape, or form. It's coal. They're dropping.
It's overcast 362 days a year there.
They're dropping, right? They're dropping coal plants and
this is a relevant rabbit hole. Like, we need to talk about this locally because, again, our wannabe leaders of Indiana are talking about these policies and putting things in place that are going to cost us money, and it's all based on the net zero nonsense.
So here's the other thing.
That's just a non-starter.
Think about our legacy in Evansville, Indiana. I talk about it all the time. We, as a community, changed the course of a global war because of our capability in industry. By putting this technology in place and becoming overly reliant on technology that does not meet the need and reducing our capacity to create energy production, what does that do to our industrial base here in the time of crisis?
Have you ever been to the Wartime Museum? Not to change too
I'm
much,
a member of the board of the Wartime Museum.
Oh, I went there for the first time a few weeks ago, and I was
amazing.
Impressed. Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. Those docents over there are amazing. Yep. But my point is, if you take these communities that have literally, like Evansville, have changed the course of a war, and it is verifiable that without Evansville, the war effort would have been very different. Mm-hmm. China knows this. They go in, they weaken the places that are the strongest through these agendized items. They're our largest they will tell you, we're your largest geopolitical adversary. We are in economic war with you. They will tell you this. They told Trump this last week. I don't know why people don't listen to them when they tell them what they want and what they are and what they see themselves as. We think in 4 years, we are so incapable of attention span and analysis anymore and independent critical thinking that we think, oh, well, this is a great idea. It feels good. It's kind. It's compassionate. It feels good. It's environmentally friendly.
I care about you.
We should be doing this. Solar doesn't produce any pollution. Well, that's complete bullshit. The production of these solar cells themselves is unbelievably catastrophic to the environment in which they're created. It is, and to dispose of them is unbelievably catastrophic to the environment in which they're dumped. You're taking rare earth minerals that are truly rare earth minerals, and you're expiring them in a 15 to 20 year package that you're going to dump somewhere in a toxic waste somewhere. And China's laughing their butts off at us.
And so let's dial this back in. We're in a rabbit hole that comes back to Evansville. I want to pull this back to, I'm going to be making a lot of decisions in November about who I'm going to vote for.
Sure.
The next mayoral election, the next Senate, House, we need to force all local regional leaders to have open conversations and talk about these things. I have reached out to Mary Allen, who everyone says she's a lovely person. I believe she is.
I've never heard personally. She is a lovely person.
Lovely, perfect. I want you to be able to back up the policy decisions and the things that you're saying online, because you're ginning up votes based on fear and based on things, emotion that have nothing to do with actually going to make the lives of people in Evansville, not just the homeless people, the lives of people that fund the homeless people, the lives of taxpayers, the lives of everyone that has to pay higher and higher energy bills.
Benefited the homeless people. No way.
Mary Allen, the next mayor of Evansville, the current mayor of Evansville, refuses to have open conversations talking about important things.
City's doing great, though.
So you, as a taxpayer, as a citizen of whatever city you're in, if you're in Evansville, Southern Indiana, any county seat around, you need to force your elected officials to come on programs like this, doesn't have to be this one, and to be open to conversation, open to accountability on answering these questions. We're talking about energy. Centerpoint energy bills are killing people's livelihoods. They are driving people to have to sell homes and to move into smaller homes.
Businesses are dying as a result.
And there is no end in future of that getting cheaper. No solar panel array is going to solve that. I'm sorry. Not going to do it. There's not any case study that shows it's going to do it. And I'm sorry, I'm ranting a little bit right now.
It won't. Yeah.
But we have to force our wannabe elected officials and our current elected officials to have conversations, Joe. Travis?
Agreed.
I don't know how to do it. I'm not the one that's going to be huggy and let's talk. I try that. It works. And when people come on that I don't agree with, I have great conversations with them. We don't agree on everything. But people seemingly on their left right now refuse to have any conversation unless it's in their political playbook.
But
And
they
it's
can't
just not
because the facts don't support their stance. They just simply don't. And so when you guys, you're not confrontational. You're not going to hammer people. You're just going to ask questions. They're going to give responses, and you're going to hold people accountable as the results of those answers. You do it to me all the time. You do it to all the time.
I don't have time to do it tonight. I'd like to do it tonight, but I'm not.
And it's a great forum to do this. I think if you're going to be a civic leader, if you're going to be a leader, you have to be accountable. Get your ideas, get your solutions on the record. Commit to things on the record, and then be held accountable to those things. Karen
Be
Bass,
willing to change your mind. Joe.
Sometimes
If
you're wrong,
we're
I'm
in a
wrong.
bad policy decision right now based on
Change course.
Yeah, jump ship at some point.
something that national level politicians forced it into, and now they're backtracking on, why should we wait 5 years and go down the path that we know is dying? Like if you're driving down an interstate and you know there's a bridge down the road that has all of a sudden just fallen apart because we're no longer funding that bridge and that concept, you're going to go off of the bridge. We right now are way away from that bridge, and we're investing money going towards a bridge that will never be rebuilt because the policy with AI data centers is not going to be we're making cheaper energy. Solar panels are not going to fund AI data centers.
They are not.
I'm sorry.
My issue with that is these people are not unintelligent. The people that are pushing these agendas are not unintelligent. My issue is, why are you pushing something you know is going to fail? Who's benefiting from these decisions? And why are you not taking into account the people who are actually paying the taxes to fund this crap? And that's my biggest problem. The reason they don't want to come on a show like this is because they don't want to be accountable. They don't want to be asked those questions, and they don't want to have to come up with the answers. They may not.
They don't have the answers.
They may not know the reasons why these agendas are being pushed. That's uncomfortable. That's very.
In fact, they don't understand it, and they just say what they
do
they're supposed
know
to
the
say.
answers to these, and it comes out absurd when you start diffusing emotional statements with fact-based critical thinking and questions. It becomes so absurd. It becomes an exercise in the absurd, and it's highly, highly embarrassing. You can't be pro-police and pro-public safety and think taking criminals off the streets that have no business being in this country is a bad thing. You can't say those same things in the same sentence, and still one of those things can't be true. It's just you can't want to protect the populace and be a proponent of things that keep evildoers in our communities. Period. Those two things can't exist in the same universe.
First principles. It's all first principles.
You can't believe in sustainable energy and be pushing energy technology that is not sustainable. That's extremely expensive. They can't be in the same universe. They can't be the same thing.
Well, I really feel like
rattling going on.
I really feel like we need to be having 30-minute conversations about AI data centers every day or every couple days or every week.
That's
and
become
here
such
we
a
are,
cute
and
little
here-
lightning rod for people.
Well, no, but here we are. I mean, we're trapped and we're low on time because we're behind on our pods. But it's like we're stuck in an energy problem, and we're being, I don't know how to put it properly without stepping on. Like AI data centers are coming to our country.
Period.
And state by state, county by county, people in an unaccountable, untransparent way are making deals that we can't talk about. And that's scaring the shit out of a lot of people. A lot of people watching this podcast that are very anti-data center. And I wish that I was more, like people should be feeding me information to oversell these things to the point. Because I'm a pretty good salesperson when I want to be. And I can give you the information like, seems really bad, but here's why we should really be talking about it, and here's what we can do to whatever. That's not there. That's a voting block waiting to happen. Like they're very emotional, very whatever, and
100%.
and I concede why they're upset and concerned based on the energy prices that are skyrocketing. and we're being promised.
These are two separate issues.
I know they are, but they're not to people because they vote emotionally.
So what these people are so great at doing, is particularly on the left side of the aisle, is is identifying an emotional boogeyman. This is a scary, scary thing. People don't understand what data centers do. They don't have any idea that your phone connects to data centers all over the globe and it's pulling information. They don't understand Netflix, Amazon, every damn thing that powers your life all day long, every single day, is coming from a data center somewhere.
Yep.
And we're running out of capacity. And all of a sudden, if you're watching Housewives of whatever city and it stops, you're going to be like, well, this is unacceptable. Well, it ran out of data center computing capacity. Or your Amazon delivery doesn't show up. Well, it ran out of computer capacity. Or, heaven forbid, a health center that's actually using it for something productive doesn't have the computing capacity to identify the cancer that you have.
Well, Travis was trying to get on Mary Terry's Facebook page earlier and couldn't because it wasn't loading fast enough.
No, it wasn't loading at all.
So
it's not that it wasn't.
Where is all my?
I'm going to bitch slap you in a second.
I mean, honestly, this is the issue. We created a boogeyman when in reality, all we have to do is have effective energy policy. We're conflating one thing.
And we're going in the wrong direction. And we're committing the city and the taxpayers to the wrong direction.
There is going to be a data center plop right next to Evansville. I guarantee it. It's coming.
Somewhere.
It's coming soon.
Somewhere around soon. Yeah.
And what's going to have to happen, or should be happening, is instead of people identifying this data center as a boogeyman,
gaslighting people on.
Yes, to get them all fired up, ginned up on something that nobody's actually talking about anything that matters. Not one damn thing. What they should be talking about is, does this data center produce enough energy to sustain itself? Period. Not at a cost to the taxpayers or the ratepayers around it. Is it producing its own energy? That is the sole requirement these data centers should have. If you put one in a community, does it come with its own energy? Alcoa has its own energy production. They're not stupid. They know what it takes to make aluminum. Data center is the same thing. You could mandate that as a community. It has to have its own energy production. Wastewater, all the other things that come along with that, all easily managed. Literally one of the least.
Energy production is huge, and I have a whole podcast that we didn't do because we've been running in different directions and sick and having crazy. Like I have a whole podcast set up to where we could talk about how much energy data centers actually use, and like what center point is making decisions based on quarterly profit margins. We are beholden to the people that are making money because we're center point. So would we rather throw more of our cards at a data center who's going to provide us with, they're going to write big checks without any weirdness, and it's going to, so then that strains everything else down the line from it. So like, this is a real world scenario that there might be a solution. There might be somebody that's much smarter than me, but like I'm hearing people saying data centers are going to, need all this energy. CenterPoint's going to prioritize those because they pay more per whatever, and they're just going to do whatever, and then we all have to basically scavenge for what's left. Because we are not right now, as it sits, because of the policies we have, we're not just gushing with extra energy.
Part of the thing,
because we've killed coal, we've killed a lot of problems. We've created net zeros, created a lot of problems that are overlapping with where we are.
The promise of a regulated utility is that it provides sustainable energy. It does fail from time to time. That is the entire premise of a regulated utility. It provides sustainable, reliable energy. Right. It's regulated to do that. They cannot drop a data center in without providing additional energy capacity. In a regulated state, that would literally violate the regulatory statutes. So that's the boogeyman I'm talking about. People pipe this stuff up with absolutely.
I'm glad I teed that up there perfectly for you.
You did. They start ginning this stuff up with absolutely no knowledge of how the regulated state works. I don't like regulated state. Period. I don't. I disagree with a regulated monopoly. However, this is the entire reason why it exists. So
there's some guardrails there that
allegedly there are guardrails there. Now that does not mean one bit that I think anything I said previously, these data centers should provide their own power, is wrong. I think 100%. And in fact, I'd like them to produce an overage of surplus power and feed it back to the grid, thereby adding additional energy and reducing our energy consumption.
But we need strong negotiators there, Joe, that will actually have the damn conversations and be transparent and open with people enough to give the people the knowledge and the power to organize together to force
100%.
these things to happen. 100%. As it is, they're happening in backroom deals. And
you understand the deal after the deal is signed.
You only understand what happens after they've signed.
And even then, it's even sketchy. You don't know the whole deal.
Yeah. So I don't know how to wake more people up faster. And I just hope that our efforts are trying to do that. I mean, we're trying to do it. We need anyone watching this to like, share, have conversations with people. I'm not saying that I'm right about anything. I'm not putting all my votes with you or like we are all confused. We're all concerned. We all see these things happening and we all need to communicate with each other.
I think one of the best people you could bring on here, and I would be happy to help facilitate that, is getting Susie Jarowski, our Secretary of Energy and Natural Resources for the state of Indiana, on the record and have a conversation with her. She's very open. I've had many conversations with her, and she's a great person, very knowledgeable.
Is she in Indianapolis?
She is in Indianapolis, but she comes to Jasper all the time.
Okay. Would she be able to make a trip to Evansville, maybe?
I think I can't commit anything on her behalf, but she has made it before.
Can you make a?
I can make a phone call.
Please do that. I think
there's a lot of knowledge share that she could bring, and a lot of an enormous amount of knowledge that she could bring. And she's a phenomenally good person. She just wants to make Indiana a better state.
And we want problem solvers. We want truth seekers. We want people that are open to being transparent. And, we're all trying to be accountable together. I'm not here like throwing a bomb in your, trying to upsell what I'm doing over what you're saying or what she's might be saying. I just want to know how we can make better decisions. And it seems like there's always a boogeyman argument. They're always throwing fear at us. We never have they think because they sit in different rooms, they can keep all the information and they're just going to do what's best for us because they're smarter than us. And there's just no position on the planet that I think that's the right thing. I just will never agree. I will never agree.
The entire premise that backroom deals are a good thing is a fallacy. Public service means doing things in the public eye. It means doing things at the highest level. You can possibly do them at the highest level of accountability. You do not get to run the government or make decisions for the populace behind closed doors. You shouldn't get to. This is a transparent process.
We are allowing it to happen.
We are, and we have given them this ability because we're so damn apathetic. But we've got to take that control back. We've got to hold people accountable because they're spending our money. We like to gripe and complain. It's so expensive. We've got utility rates are outrageous. We've got this, we've got that. Our roads are crap. Our infrastructure sucks. We've got a stupid Portland Loo that's going to do nothing but create prostitution, drugs, and more cost.
Because our police officers have nothing to do except for go visit.
Yeah, our police officers that are understaffed. Our police department. And by the way, those guys work their butts off. I love those guys.
Love them. Shout out to the Blue.
Every single time I can, and I can tell you one of the most powerful images I saw. I was actually looking to do a police officer.
You're needing to wrap up, right?
I am.
Okay.
And I saw Phil Smith in a photo from the Courier and Press talking about when Sam was shot. He was over the podium and he was bent over, and I just saw the grief and agony of that entire moment etched on his face, and it was in profile, and it was one of the most profoundly moving pictures I've ever seen. And that is what our police deal with. So kudos to that guy. He's doing a job that nobody wants, and every day our police officers are doing an amazing job, and now this just adds to it. It just pisses me off. So it just is what it is. I think we need to get good voices here. I know a lot about energy. Susie Jarowski writes a policy for the state. She's the governor's person. She's a great individual. Get her on the record. Call her up. She's very accessible.
If she comes here, Joe, we'll do our best to roll out the red carpet. We also have a nice little green screen that you guys can sit over there and chairs right next to each other. And
she's a great person. I've had many good conversations with her.
So I think having here's the concerns of people that are in southern Indiana. I'm sure there's concerns for people in other parts around Indiana.
All over the state.
And I think we're a little ahead of the curve because Centerpoint has forced our hand a little faster maybe than other southern Indiana's never had any curve. But I think in the energy pinch point, we are ahead of the curve to our neighbors to the north and further.
They're catching up fast, though.
Oh, and it's all going to happen real rapidly.
Yeah, they're
But
catching
what
up
I'm saying
fast.
is we have a limited time where we're kind of slightly ahead of the curve, and this is not a good situation that we are actually ahead of the curve because we are feeling the pain more.
No, it isn't. I'd be happy to have that. Text her up and see if she'd be able to.
Let's do it.
That'd be amazing. She's a really, really good person, too.
We want to move the needle. We want to make people, first of all, understand what's going on. We're not saying we're going to solve the problem.
And she may
in
not
one
have the
podcast.
answers, but she could give you insight.
We need context. We need to understand what's going on. We need to understand why decisions are being made, understand why questions aren't being answered, that people find relevant.
She's the right person to ask.
Yeah, well, let's
100%.
let's make that happen.
So
I
we're happy to
appreciate
do
you
that.
very much.
Like I said, I can't speak for her, can't talk about. I don't know what her schedule looks like, but she's very accessible. She is a very good person. She's a very straightforward person. So,
Well, I think we're pretty flexible down here, and we will make it happen no matter what.
awesome. Guys, as always, I just really appreciate you guys having me on. This is a very important podcast. You guys really don't try and corner people. You just want to hear what they have to say and then hold them accountable to it later on. I think that's incredibly valuable. I would implore every single person that wants to get into leadership in the city, in organizations in the city, come on here. You guys are not confrontational. You're not trying to catch people in something or do something. It's a really good opportunity to get your ideas out there into the thought space, bounce them around, and have people comment on them and listen to you. And maybe there's some really phenomenal opportunity there. And to all the people that sponsor you guys, thank you so much for that, because it provides the opportunity for people like me to come and have conversations.
Jason, Uncle Jerry, Jeff, we got several other people that are coming on and expressing interest, and I appreciate all those people. And we couldn't do it without them. We're in a new studio now.
It's great here. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's going to get better and better. Like, this is me throwing it together and Travis trying to put all the, make all the stuff work here. I'm just trying to put the space together where people can come and have these conversations. And he's a gracious volunteer. I couldn't do it without him. So shout out to you, Trav. And I appreciate you, Joe, just coming on. And we never talk about what we're going to talk about.
That's one of the most fun things about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I never know what you guys are going to, I never know what the agenda looks like. So I have to literally brush up and be current on everything.
I had one clip.
Know it all.
One clip for this podcast. That might be a new record for us.
I know it is.
I don't think we've ever done that. So I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your passion for wanting to make a difference in the community. And this is not a I'm a Republican and you're a Democrat, so let's hash it out. I don't want to be either party. I want to be the person that's talking about the topics that move the needle and affect people, that their bills are rising, their concerns are rising, they don't know what's happening in their community, and we deserve better. We will demand better. Again, not a push necessarily about anybody currently elected, except for they're not helping to make that change, because I think they're just more trying to keep the power structures as they are, which is unfortunate.
We just need positive change in the right direction. And the right direction is a fiscally conservative model that rolls back the debt, not increases it. That rolls back the cost of living here for the citizens, not increases it. That creates opportunity for Evansville and the people that live here and the youth that are growing here, not removes it. We need to stop managing the decline and the fall into mediocrity. We're subsidizing mediocrity through a managed decline of the city. When I ran for city council, we were 117,000 people. We're now 115,000 people. There's no growth. That's contraction. That's a problem. And the solutions that we need to come up with, and then when you get city leaders here and people that are thinking about being in city leadership here, that's the conversations that you guys have. And I love that about this. So thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for everyone that watched tonight. Like, share, comment, anything that you can do to spread the message. We are looking to move the needle here locally, trying to make a better community, make it a place where our young kids want to anchor here and be proud of the city that we're in, and that's our mission.
Absolutely.
So appreciate you guys both.
Yep. Have a good night.
Awesome.
Take care,
Good
everyone.
seeing you, Travis.
See you guys.
Love you guys.